Stop the stupid mask mania. MSNBC shaming bystanders backfires. Twitter fact checks Trump. A gut-wrenching arrest in Minnesota. And should we see the Flynn Kislyak transcripts of those phone calls? Coming up. Welcome, everybody, to the Buck Sexton Show on this lovely Wednesday, May 27th of the 20th year after the 20 that starts at the beginning of the second millennium. Great to be here with you today. Thank you so much. We have work to do. It will be fun. It will be educational. It will be interesting. But we have work to do to get through so many different news stories. And also, it's becoming even more clear than it ever was before that what we face is a political fight now more than a fight against a virus. We had in New York, and I just focused in on it because I know the numbers are the best because this is where I am, and this is also the worst place in the entire country for COVID. This is the worst hit place, as you know, everyone knows. We had about 200 admissions to the hospital yesterday for COVID-19. We had about 97 people, I think it was, 70-something people it was, who died. And that, my friends, is where we are right now in the worst part of the country for COVID-19. And yet we are seeing all of these moronic plans for how they're going to restrict the reopening, how they're going to limit our ability to go about our daily lives, as if now they walk around as if the virus has declined because of their great policies. Oh, because we listened to them, because we obeyed them. I want to be very clear for those that engage in the mask virtue signaling right now, where there's so much of it going on. People who are outdoors, there is not. Find me one peer-reviewed, serious scientific study out there. One that says that mask wearing outdoors is a sensible precaution against COVID-19 or any respiratory virus for people who are just going about their daily lives. And I will correct myself on air and say, oh, it looks like there is a real reason for this. Because if you just go back, I'm not saying go back in history. Oh, go back 100 years, go back 10 years. No. Go back a few months. Go back a few months and you will see that they were far less able to justify these policies, to tell us that we have to do this. Mark, we have Fauci telling us that, wearing a mask is not really that important. Play the clip.
Right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with masks.
You're sure of it? Because people are listening really closely to this.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet. But it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is. And often there are unintended consequences. People keep fiddling with the mask and they keep touching their face.
And can you get some schmutz sort of staying inside there?
Of course. But when you think masks, you should think of healthcare providers needing them and people who are ill.
So that was earlier this year. The foremost expert from the NIH on infectious disease, Dr. Fauci, saying, come on, don't be a clown. Don't walk around with a mask on outside. You don't need to do that. That doesn't make any sense. What have we learned from then to now that has changed? Have we seen, oh, no, we panicked. We freaked out as a country. We locked down. We were told to wear masks weeks and weeks into it after there had already been tremendous spread. And now we have an assumption that masks were necessary. Masks protected us. Masks saved lives. Governor Cuomo will tell you that a mask can save somebody else's life. And there's no evidence for that. But he doesn't want to give you the freedom in New York to make that determination for yourself. It is outrageous what's going on right now. The exploitation of public fear and the political tribalism that has gripped this country, the exploitation of anti-Trump insanity for purposes of political mobilization. What has been going on is really, truly astounding and frightening. That's what is tied into all of this now. How else? I'm not finding some random expert here. How did Fauci, who's worked for this, let's be very clear. This is what this guy's whole life's work has been for decades and decades. And in the early stages of a pandemic, he's telling you what we know to be true, which is, look, a mask, it does not actually seal air from getting into your mouth. It doesn't stop droplets from getting into your eyes or from people still touching their faces. So don't wear a mask. And we've gone from that to just last night, the same Dr. Fauci, same guy. Remember, there's no study, there's no new evidence to point to from what he said that I just played for you to now. But now he's telling you that, yeah, it's a symbol. Wear a mask as a symbol. Play 20.
Do you think when folks, members of the public, are being asked to do this, and they look at folks like you doing it, does that encourage its use to a positive degree?
No, it does, Jim. And I mean, I wear it for the reason that I believe it is effective. It's not 100% effective. I mean, it's sort of respect for another person and have that other person respect you. You wear a mask, they wear a mask, you protect each other. I mean, I do it when I'm in the public for the reasons that, A, I want to protect myself and protect others, and also because I want to make it be a symbol for people to see that that's the kind of thing you should be doing. And when I walk around the street in the neighborhood where I live in Washington, D.C., which still has a considerable number of infections, it's very clear that many people are doing that.
A symbol of what? Here he's saying it should be a symbol. A symbol of what? Of your respect for other people? No, it's a mask. It's uncomfortable. It's annoying. And it's a form of social control now. This is now, you must submit. This is the government's way of forcing people to bend the knee after the ineptitude and stupidity of our government overlords at all levels on this issue has been all too clear. Now they tell us, oh, you must wear a mask because it shows your respect. Respect for whom? I don't have some deep and abiding respect for the public health authorities. I think they're a bunch of morons. What did they do to save lives here? Find me the Fauci clip saying, hey, we really got to focus not on masks, but on seniors. Where was that? That was obvious from the early stages. The skeptics of the lockdown consensus, some of whom I've had on this show, and I was one. In fact, I was dragged in the weeks before Easter when the president had said that he wanted to get it to a reopen, and he was right, and that was the right move. And gosh darn it, his public health authorities, Fauci and Birx and the others, they pushed him off that decision, and that was wrong. Now, it's ultimately that's on Trump, and I think he knows. He'll never admit a mistake, but I think he knows that the 2 weeks to get everybody geared up and ready for what was coming, that 15 days I still think was acceptable in extremis. I don't think we should ever do it again, but 15 days, once every 100 years, it feels like, okay, maybe we could do this. The extension beyond that was wrong. And now we're seeing plummeting infections. Plummeting hospitalizations. And this is also where the data is so important and the way that it's misused. There's a Pew graph right now, the Pew polling company, a graph going around showing, well, looks like the blue states are showing the red states how it's done because their number of cases is going down more dramatically than the red states. Yeah, that's because the blue states in the worst cases on the graph are like Mount Everest and K2, and the red states are overwhelmingly like a little hill that you would let your kid ride a tricycle over. So it's a lot harder for a dramatic decline from a very already low number than a dramatic decline from a far too high number. This is obvious stuff. What is Pew doing? Well, there is so much in the way of politics behind all of this. And also, as we know, there's a lot of power at stake. So numbers are being abused and misused in ways you have to be on guard for. Another very important metric one is very important and the other is being very misused. The important metric is hospitalizations. COVID-19 for people who are asymptomatic is not a big deal. If you go to the hospital with COVID-19, you could be at substantial risk, and that's serious. So new cases, period, is not indicative of the disease becoming a bigger threat or getting worse. If anything, new cases results in better and more improved access to testing. You notice how you've heard a lot less about testing. Nancy Pelosi, hey, we have to test to get out of, drinking a Chardonnay right before she goes on TV. We have to test before. Notice how you don't hear much about it anymore. You know why that is? Because we're not even using the testing capacity that we currently have. We have a capacity that is at one level. We have usage far below that. And they keep saying, oh my gosh, unless we get testing to 10 times that, we're all going to die. What are they talking about? I know a lot of people in New York, and the only people I know who have gotten COVID tests have had to for a work reason, someone like me going to the White House, for example, or if they were really sick. I don't know anyone here in the epicenter of the COVID outbreak who's like, I'm just kind of bored. I'm going to go get a COVID test, make sure. Because remember the COVID, now serology tests to make sure makes sense. Active infection tests, people aren't going to do that. But you see, they create the perception of testing is necessary to keep us safe, and then they can follow on with the regulations. Remember, you're going to hear me say it a lot, this is all about making the voluntary mandatory. This is all about taking what they say is just a helpful suggestion today, and then tomorrow it's do this or else. Do this or else. Fauci says it as clearly as it can be said. It's a symbol now. It's a symbol of taking care of other people. No, I don't want to wear a symbol around my face. It's hot outside. I haven't had enough fresh air. I haven't enough sunlight. Millions and tens of millions of people just like me are sick of this. We're sick of the threat of possibly getting sick, ruining our lives. And yet now we're told wear a mask to show your respect. Oh, it almost feels like I'm supposed to, kiss the ring of Fauci and Cuomo and Newsom and Governor Murphy in New Jersey and the latest now in Virginia. Remember, the problem of COVID-19 is going down in states across the country. But in Virginia now, Governor Northam, I'm not sure, I was in the blackface or the KKK robe infamy, that guy has now made masks in public mandatory too. It's basically June. Now they're making masks mandatory? Well, if it was so obvious, why weren't masks mandatory week one, people? Just apply logic. These people are morons. They're trying to tell you what to do. They're insisting you do as they say, or else they're going to fine you, arrest you, shut down your business, maybe even kick you out of your home. After the show yesterday, I just got a notification. I'm not yet sure if it was just to me or to the whole building, but it was a notification from management where I live in New York that, a reminder of Cuomo's executive order, 12795 or whatever it is, that you have to wear masks in public places. So you, sir, to me, must wear a mask in the lobby. I don't want to wear a mask in the lobby. If the test and trace program says that you only have to worry about 10 minutes or more, I'm in my lobby of my building in New York for less than 10 seconds. Someone's really going to get infected by me in less than 10 seconds? If that was the case, we're all going to get infected 100% guaranteed no matter what. So stop your worrying. But that's not the case. So why do I have to wear a mask? Oh, but now it's a policy. Now it's building policy because it's government policy. It's not private sector making this decision. It's the public sector pushing the private sector under pain of fines and shutdown. Also got a note saying that at my gym, we're planning to open in 3 weeks, which is still stunning how long they're waiting on this. Planning to open in 3 weeks, but just want to make sure you all know that you're going to have to work out with masks on. I'm sorry, what? I'm going to be deadlifting like a little old lady because I haven't been able to lift weights in months now. But, I'm going to be deadlifting or I'm going to be benching or whatever, and I got to have a mask. I'm going to be on the treadmill or the rowing machine with a mask on? What if I'm in there by myself? Oh, no. No masks, no workout. That was the word that I got. This is stupid. And it's wrong. It's wrong. This is tyranny now. This is tyranny. This is not something we should accept. And I think that we're going to have to get organized resistance against this. I know they've ruined the word resistance forever now, but we're going to have a pushback that goes beyond just complaining about the stupidity of this. This is not rooted in the science. This is rooted in control. There are people who psychologically and emotionally and politically, ideologically, they're obsessed with controlling other people. And we call them liberals, which is quite a misnomer. Libs, leftists. And this is now a huge opening for them, a huge opportunity, and they are seizing it. They want to control you. You know that the mask thing is political because of the way that it has now become an item to show off on social media. Explain this to me, someone. Why would someone change their photo on, and I mean journalists and politicians, and why would they change the photo of their face that is the representation of who they are to update it with a photo of a mask so you can't even really see them? It's a stupid thing to do. And I know people have done it on the right too, but some people think they've bought into this is what is helping, this is making us safer. If you're in the government, you don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to deal with the heat from, the left-wing Twitter mobs and everything else. But for most of the people that are doing this, sometimes there can be mixed motivations. I understand that. But for most of the people who are doing this is like showing off. Joe Biden now has as his photo on Twitter, his avatar, right? The photo that is the primary online representation of him. And he's got 5.5 million followers on Twitter. All right. And his main photo now has a mask. He's got a big mask on. It's a terrible look, but this has become politicized. Understand that this is now a political statement. The mask is the anti-MAGA hat of 2020. You have to understand this now if you don't already. That's what this has become. It's a rallying cry. It's a symbol of anti-Trumpism for journos. Now, before people start saying really stupid things like, whoa, what about doctors who wear masks? Yeah, of course. Doctors should wear masks. Nurses should wear masks. People indoors with at-risk relatives or friends can take that additional layer of precaution, but that's up to them. It should be a choice because you're really not giving yourself that much of a better shot, but you're also not really that at high risk. A vast majority of people don't have the disease. So you're wearing a mask sitting there. What your 99% of people are going to be sitting there with a mask on across from, say, their elderly relatives or elderly friends or whatever it may be. And everyone in the room is free of COVID-19, but everyone's going to be wearing a mask because now I'm not saying that that's around high risk people would be willing to wear a mask. That's a concession I would make because I'm looking at the risk and the risk I'm willing to take under the circumstances and the limited circumstances of being around people that are at high risk. But I'm being told, go outside, wear a mask, work out, wear a mask, in the elevator, wear a mask, in the lobby, wear a mask. This is insane. But now we all understand what's going on here. The mask is the anti-MAGA hat of 2020. You know that's the case. You see it. That's why Joe Biden's avatar now has a mask on him. He looks like one of Sauron's minions chasing Frodo across the Shire or whatever. I mean, he looks like the character, Hades from Greek mythology brought to life in some kind of updated television drama. I mean, it's not a good look. And I also really disapprove as a general matter of shrouding people's identities in public. I think that it's easier to view each other negatively and as objects. I think human to human connection, being able to see people's faces, is really important. You know, you go back to the old, and I don't even know if this is really the origins of it, but everyone believes it is, so it might as well be the origins. You know, the salute comes from chivalry and lifting your visor so that the knight that you were seeing, and again, maybe this is not technically, but this is what everyone believes. So if it's some kind of urban legend, it's a very, very powerful one. But you lift your visor so the other knight can see who you are. Understanding, seeing, and processing someone else's visual identity as a human being is important. It's one of the reasons why. What do they do? That's right, I'm going to go there. What do they do in repressive, totalitarian, Islamist societies in order to hold down and oppress women? And as well as men, but in a different way, right? They insist on women cover up, and they not just cover up a little bit, cover their face, put on a full face veil. You know, you go to Afghanistan, that's about control. When you take away someone's ability to be seen and to feel that connection with other human beings face to face, and their identity and the visualizations that you take in, one's expressions, all of this, a sense of the shared humanity that we have that comes from this. When you take that away, it's so much easier to objectify someone and to otherize someone. So now I've just got to say that we've already established in repressive Islamist societies, and now we're all being told to go out in public all the time and everyone has to wear a mask, and it's eerie and it's unacceptable. Out in public, in open air, mask wearing is dumb and it's wrong. It's about control. I'm not going to change my mind on this. I would need clear, irrefutable scientific evidence that it really dramatically reduces transmission. Doesn't exist. This evidence doesn't exist. And that we are at substantial risk from this disease, which, if you look at the numbers right now, also, if you are under the age of 60, does not exist unless you have substantial comorbidities. And you look at where we are at this point in the year, there's a reason why there's far fewer flu cases. There's a reason why there's far fewer COVID-19 cases. There's a seasonality to these infections. I don't understand how there's some conservatives who are really weak on this, really wimpy. I don't get it. You know, there's some conservatives who are like, I'll wear a mask as long as I have to wear a mask. Really? Because if you accept the left's premise here, and unfortunately also in the Trump era, there are a lot of people who have established, big or even the biggest platforms they've ever had, or that now they have a big platform they didn't have one before, and now they've reached new heights. And they kind of just rode the Trump wave and got lucky. Their thoughts and certainly their ethics are not particularly or even a little bit worthwhile. And so this is a moment where you see who's really thinking about these issues and who's like, well, Dr. Fauci says, so I'm going to listen to Dr. Fauci on this. When I played the audio, was the Dr. Fauci from a few months ago saying that wearing masks is kind of dumb? I mean, it's not what he said, but that's basically what he said. Was that guy an idiot, not an expert? But now the guy today that's saying a mask is a symbol, that's the expert? I would need an explanation of this. And just also then there's the politics of it, but then there's the smug virtue signaling. The smug virtue signaling that is going on right now from particularly members of the media. This was a delicious moment. MSNBC is full of nasty people. A lot of social justice mob enraging, or getting the mob all enraged on their behalf. A lot of beta males at MSNBC. A lot of pseudo intellectuals, people that believe that because mom and dad, who are both psychiatrists, went to went to Brown University, and they also went to Brown University. So now we're all supposed to think that they're some kind of genius or a brilliant person or whatever. They're idiots. I mean, the people over at MSNBC, the lack of intellectual rigor, not just in the news broadcasts and the commentary and everything. It's really a pathetic place in so many ways. And NBC is like, oh, we're just a news channel. MSNBC is for more of the opinion, but it's all the same, really. NBC just tries to soften the leftist edges a little bit. And I just love this moment. You had a reporter who's doing this. Now this is the other thing, too. You have these reporters out in the open air wearing a mask. You will notice, because it's public, my photo with the president. Am I wearing a mask? Is he wearing a mask? No. So, practice what I preach. Oh, but I just took a COVID test 15 minutes before I saw the guy. So unless someone wants to explain how, either our COVID tests don't work, in which case, what are we doing, right? Or explain how I could, in a secure facility where everyone is being COVID tested, get COVID-19 in the span of, 15 minutes and produce enough viral replication that I could give it to somebody else. It's scientifically impossible. Oh, but if I listen to the libs, I'm sure St. Fauci, if he saw that photo, Bach should have been wearing a mask, even just to show as a symbol of respect for others. What about respect for me? I don't mean in terms of the meeting with the president. I mean in general. What about respect for those of us who don't want something, stifling us as we're outside trying to get some fresh air and get some sunlight? Out in the open air, I can stay 6 feet away from people. If you're a mask nut, stay the hell away from me. I'll stay away from you. What about respect for me? Oh, no, you got to wear the mask. Now, I know a lot of you are in places in the country where, look, I'm just going to say it, the sane people are going to leave. I've never before thought about New York as a place that I couldn't. People said, oh, Buck, the politics. Yeah, but the food's so good and there's so much to do. And, when you're a single guy, I'm just going to tell you the dating pool is the best in the world. And, there's all that stuff. Not a single guy now, but when I was a single guy, the dating pool was amazing. And, there's some reasons to be here. But right now, I think that this is just breaking a lot of us. Oh, wait, I've got to come back and this MSNBC reporter, though. Oh, boy. This is a good one. This is the most MSNBC thing you will ever see or ever hear. It's coming up.
Okay, so the president was speaking at an event on protecting the health of seniors. And you know what? If he really cared about seniors, he would encourage people to wear masks to save the lives of those seniors who make up a large portion of the coronavirus deaths. But this president would rather mock a reporter. He would rather mock Joe Biden for doing what every American has been doing. Most Americans have been doing the right thing, and that is wearing a mask. Mocking him for being a real man, unlike the president, and doing what he should be doing.
Listen to all the sanctimony from the man that President Trump rightly describes as the dumbest person on TV, certainly the dumbest host. I wouldn't say the dumbest person, but for a major network anchor, Don Lemon is very high up in the stupidity contest. Look, the president called him out, and that's why he hates him now forever. I mean, Don Lemon hates the president because this president wasn't afraid to say Don Lemon's a moron. So there's that. But masking people now, people wearing masks is somehow all of a sudden an obvious and necessary thing. How do we get to this transition? Where is the evidence that this is necessary? We went from social distancing, no masks. Social distancing didn't work all that well. Remember, we were in social distance for over a month, and there were still a lot of people getting sick and a lot of people dying. And while we were in social distance quarantine, which is even more, right? While we were in mass house arrest, in New York, 66% of the new cases they had for a while, a couple of weeks ago, going to the hospital were people who had stayed home. Forget about masks and social distancing. They don't really know how to stop the spread of this. That's what they won't admit to you. So instead, they just use it as an opportunity to get you to bend the knee. Okay, so smug, sanctimonious, pseudo-intellectual libs congregate, work for, gather at MSNBC. That's a place where, I mean, I don't respect the knowledge, the opinions. They put all these fake Republicans on TV. Oh, I used to work for the Bush administration, and all I do is hate Trump. Trump, Trump, Trump. I hate Trump, but I'm a former Republican. They do this for the amusement of libs sitting on their couches at home. It's grotesque, these former Bush, you know I'm talking about, Nicole Wallace and other. Oh, it's grotesque. They do this, they sit there, and they just trash Trump for the amusement of libs who hate everything that the so-called Republican pretended to stand for. Everything. But, hey, if you gotta dance for the right tune. They throw enough coins at you over at MSNBC, whoever you are, former Republican, Steve Schmidt. Yeah, I'm on TV and I'm like, Trump is the worst, like literally worse than Hitler. But I worked on John McCain's campaign and I'm the dumbest person on television. If you've never seen Steve Schmidt, I think my Steve Schmidt impersonation is spot on. But okay, here we go. We have MSNBC correspondent, straight out of Park Slope, Brooklyn, I'm sure. But here we go, MSNBC correspondent on TV, and here's how this person, people on the street in Wisconsin, just going about their lives, and here's what this person decides to do: start shaming people as they're passing on camera for not wearing a mask. Play it.
So the people there are just not worried about it, Cal? Are they not worried about their own personal safety?
I haven't met anybody who is. I met some folks actually from Lake Geneva who lived in the area. They were staying a few miles outside of town where I were, and they said they're worried about it. They're worried about that second spike. They're worried about folks coming in from Chicago. But they'll quickly add at the same time, this is a place that relies on that business. I think people here want a little bit more funding when it comes to these programs so that they could stay closed. But again, I think people felt like the Supreme Court made the decision here in Wisconsin that it was time to open up. But you can see here, just around. Nobody's wearing them. Nobody's. The cameraman. There you go, including the cameraman. Yeah. Katie.
Captain Cruz not wearing them.
Striking images, Cal Perry.
Striking images. I know it was very tough to hear that because it was an off mic comment, but just to make it very clear, here's they panned around to show people and their faces, unmasked, of course. Look at these people. Do they just not care? And Katie Tur is an idiot. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I actually do. I've heard stories about how she ascended at MSNBC, but I don't know why anybody would listen to this person talk about anything, but it is what it is. And here they're showing the passersby, faces of the passersby, people who are just individuals going about their days. They're being shamed. I mean, this is real-time national TV video. Look at this person doesn't care. And one of them, God bless him. I love this Wisconsinite. And I bet the guy's probably not even Republican. He's just not a lunatic. He's like, your camera guy is not wearing a mask, and half of your crew is not wearing a mask. Are you showing them? Notice how Katie Tur, oh, yes, a nice day. Oh, the weather must be warm out there. Okay, let's go to the next shot. Got to move right past that one. Perfect encapsulation of this. Perfect encapsulation of the mentality. These smug, pathetic, insecure libs, which is really, that is the MSNBC. That's what they have. That's what they're looking for over there. People that pretend to care so much about, we care so much about the poor and about minorities and about the working class, unlike those mean Republicans. Oh, and also, the 37 genders that exist and all the other things, right? That's what MSNBC is. But do they have an answer for why was the camera guy not wearing a mask? Why was the crew not wearing a mask? If it's so important, if it's reckless, if you don't care about your safety unless you're wearing a mask, do they have an answer for you? No, of course not. Of course not. Because they're frauds and they're hypocrites. The defining characteristic of the modern left is its hypocrisy. That is the one. That is the sin, the truth that it cannot escape. It's everywhere. The hypocrisy, just the rank and grotesque hypocrisy. And remember that the people that were there walking past, they're in open air. The camera guy has to stand still for a long period of time. The crew is standing together, congregated for a long period of time. Do they not care about their safety? I also love when libs come after me on this one. They're like, oh, he's just sitting at home. I go out every day. I go in stores. I go everywhere I can. And I only wear a mask on pain of being ejected from the premises. But outside, I don't wear a mask. So I practice what I preach.